I mean, if this was such an accident, why are we moving files around and renaming stuff and being weird? Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only, and just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Okay, a few days ago, I let you guys know on the community tab that I had received an email telling me that there were additional files added to the CHP request when it came to Kiely Rodni's case. Now, a lot of people are believing the accident, detailing the accident conclusion. I'm not. Most of you here aren't either. There's just way too much evidence when it comes to the shadiness, the secrecy, and the results of the autopsy and toxicology that pretty much tell anybody with a freaking brain that something's just not right here. Let's go ahead and go through the files that we got in the first batch before we start going through the December ones. We've gone through a few of them, so let's just pick up exactly where we left off. The first thing I noticed when I logged in was that when I scrolled down to the original set of files, I noticed that some were missing. They have decided to take some of them away from the public request, and I don't understand why. So as you can see, we've got all these HP cams with all these different dates right here, and then we have the redacted reports, okay? Where the hell did all the photo file files go? All 5 of these photo files are missing from the original 9/17 release. So maybe they're not missing. Instead, they've been moved to a different place and renamed. I don't know if anything's been changed, but basically, as I was going through and downloading all the files to Kiely's USB I've got over here, I noticed that some of them started looking familiar. I started seeing the computer where they were reading the computer off the Honda, and it just popped up basically that they couldn't figure out anything. So I don't know what they did differently besides change the title. Why they felt the need to change the title is also strange, because there's not really anything too noticeable at all in the photos. It's just the scene in the car with everything you're going to see here in a minute. Whenever I start going through these, it's basically all the exact same stuff. So I'm going to have to go back in myself now that I have both the original one that they've now removed and the one that they have now replaced it with, and see if there's anything different. See if there's photos missing from the original one. I mean, if this was such an accident, why are we moving files around and renaming stuff and being weird? Oh, and speaking of downloading the files to save to Kiely's USB, look what else happened. I got all of these, and then 987. I went to 6, and suddenly I got this file link expired. Please refresh the page error. I refreshed the page, tried it again, it did the exact same thing. I logged out, I logged back in, tried it again, it did the exact same thing. So let me see. I'm going to try to get it on here now. It's spinning. But is it going to, no, file link expired. Okay. Let's try number 5 now. Is it going to give it to me? Because it should be downloading. See, now this one's wanting to download. So whatever is on number 6 is expired for some reason. That doesn't even make any logical sense. Didn't have a problem with a single other file. And this one's literally like smack dab in the middle of the document drop. Whatever. I don't know what it was, but it's interesting that it's the only one expired. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull the photos up. My face is going to completely disappear so that you guys can see them in full. Okay, so there's 102 of these. So we're just going to scroll through it and take a look as best we can and just take a look. Now, from what I'm understanding from conversations I had with SF Investigates a few months back, whenever the first set of documents released, this is supposed to be after CHP got the car from the feds. Now, the one that I showed you guys at the end of the last video about the photo files, not where we went over what the hell was going on with her freaking SUV being auctioned, disgusting, but the actual photo files, that would have been taken by CHP as soon as they got the car back from the feds. Now, what I don't understand is how the feds really did like any actual investigation. If in these photos we've seen now, like this, that CHP seems to have been the ones that would have gone in and ripped all of the stuff off the seats. At least that's how it seems to me, because in the photo at the end of the other file, they still have all the seat covers on them. And I'm being told that that's how CHP got it after the feds gave it to them. So how much could the feds have really investigated if they didn't pull everything out of the vehicle and take the seat covers and stuff off? It looks like CHP would have been the ones to have done that. This had to have been like when it landed, and when it flipped and landed. I mean, we know that it flipped and landed. We know that it was found on its roof. It's just still crazy to me that underwater, even though it's underwater and it's lighter, it's still enough weight to crack that glass like that. But then again, if it was sitting out there, for a few weeks, eventually it probably would have done it anyway. What is interesting to me, though, is the windshield wipers, because it went in there so slow. Like, it was literally like less than 10 miles an hour. I swear that the car was driving in the first place from what we saw in the fire cam footage, right? Why are the windshield wipers like this? I guess maybe it could have happened if she was alive. I don't believe she was alive whenever this vehicle went into the water. I just do not. The autopsy, the lack of liquid in the lungs, the lack of alcohol, the lack of anything else in her system to show me that she was too inebriated or out of it to drive, it just doesn't work for me. And then as slow as we saw the vehicle going, no, that just doesn't work for me. But if somebody was alive in the front of that car whenever it went into the water, I guess maybe them kicking around and trying to get out of the vehicle could have caused the windshield wipers to come on. It's just so much dirt just sitting in there. And see, that's what a lot of people were like questioning too, because a lot of people really do think like there's a massive, oh my gosh, there is a massive group of people that believe that her body was held in some freezer somewhere and the car was held in someone's garage somewhere and that it was put into the water like the day that AWP showed up, and it like the whole thing was like staged. But you can see all the sediment and all the nasty that settled in on this car before it was pulled out. So that is just absolutely insane to me that they'd even think that far. Like, that's just, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that it probably hadn't happened before, but you can definitely see the evidence of it was sitting there. Like all of this, I mean, that's even like a little bit green, almost like some algae was starting to grow on the window. But the fact there's still paper trash in that on the floor, that doesn't even make any actual sense, especially since we know that the windows were open. So there's that too. And look at all the green glass. I mean, they had to have pulled everything out to test stuff and check things out anyway, but you'd think that the feds would have done that. But as we saw, the vehicle still very much had the seat covers on it. So I don't know. Yeah, see all of this settled in there. It was in there the whole time. There's no way that it was just like slid in afterwards. But that's what makes it even more freaking weird, because there's no way. Like, I don't care what anybody says. We saw the dive team people literally swim right on top of where this car was on sunny, bright, cloudless days. There's just no way. That they could swim right over this thing. It was like, what, 14 feet? Not even 14 feet? Holy crap, there's still some oil in there. Not even 14 feet. Yeah, look at that. That's because it's got water seeped into it. I highly doubt that it was just up like that naturally. I guess I don't understand why they're taking such hardcore close-up photos of that level. So maybe, somebody that's a mechanic can tell me, this zip tie does not look normal. I don't think that's how they put them together at the factory. But then again, this car was given to her right before this happened. And for those of you that haven't been here, or maybe just don't remember, whenever the Carfax for her Honda was pulled, it turned out that a couple of years before it was bought for her and given to her, that this SUV, this exact same SUV, went through my now deceased uncle's shop. Because I'm from Kerrville, Texas, and there's a mechanic down there. Well, I guess they're still operating it. His ex-wife is, I mean, not his ex-wife, his wife is operating it now that he's no longer alive. But Lemillier's RV and truck repair, this vehicle went through there. Their name is on the Carfax. Like, Kiely was already my very first case because of how much she reminded me of my daughter. But then whenever that popped up on the Carfax, I was like, oh, this is right where I'm supposed to be. Without a freaking doubt, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I don't know if anything looks suspicious in any of this, guys. Like, I know the very basics about vehicles. So if any of my car people, I don't see how this could be after the feds had it for a little bit and then gave it to CHP if we're still seeing water. Like, even if it was just sitting still, it would have like evaporated out. And there is still lots of liquid in this thing. I'm going to have to go back through me and SF's text messages and see exactly how long, if he mentioned how long the feds had it. dirty filter. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm seeing anything spectacular or out of place here. So any of my mechanic people that want to drop some comments about anything off that they might see, I just don't know what's the point of them taking the photos of like the inside of this kind of stuff. Now, see, I find it interesting, but then again, the car's been dried out a little bit. I find it interesting that the dashboard comes back on. Now, the lights being off, I made a comment about that before. That's crazy how much the inside of this one looks just like mine. Mine has a big screen right here. So my volume buttons and stuff are down here, but literally all of this is the same. I think this one just has a little bit more of like mine has a little bit more of like a curved ball right here. And this is more electronic right here. But dang, like all of this right here, like even the way that this is, my econ buttons over here on this side, they're like right here by the stick thing. But the lights, I had mentioned this before, that the lights, it shows that the lights are off. Now, I don't know if they turned them off because once the car, like when they do this, but I still don't really see the point of it because how are they supposed to investigate what really happened with the car if they're not getting it in the condition that it was actually found in? You know what I mean? Because we know the lights were on. We saw the lights. We saw the lights being on. Now, some people might say that they might have been the running lights. My running lights have to be turned on completely. Like for the first like 2 or 3 months I had the car, they weren't on because I didn't know. They didn't tell me. So I had to figure that out myself. But I have one just like this. It's a different year. Mine's a bit newer. But if they don't look identical in body shape, I don't see anything. I mean, the tires don't even look like they're even a little low. Look at all this dirty stuff. It's just crazy. And see, yeah, the off. I just wish we knew for sure because we damn well saw that the lights were on when the car hit the water in the fire cam, which I was looking through the newer files because, I mean, obviously, because that's how I know that there were some issues. Okay, and now this redaction page, honestly, it's really just stuff like this. Like I'll show you right like that. You see how the license plate is redacted? Yeah. That's it for this photo file. There's one more actual photo file from the September drop before it starts getting into like drone footage, video footage, stuff like that. But it's mostly all landscape. It's mostly just trees, dirt, sand, water. There's not really anything of substance when it comes to anything evidentiary. But then again, there really wouldn't be because this is the public files. So before we get to the actual finalized report that was given in this CHP stuff anyway, because we still have stuff from Truckee to get and a couple other agencies. But for now, we've got these final reports from CHP. We already know what they say pretty much. But before we go over them in length, I'm going to make sure that all of the rest of the stuff is out here. Now, I'm not going to be in a bunch of these next few videos because you don't need my face on the screen and you don't need to hear my voice for you guys to look at landscape stuff. It's like drone footage where it has like almost the military type scaling and compasses and stuff on the screen and just like hundreds of photos of the area. There's not really anything in there that I can really give commentary on. Oh, look, a cute tree. I mean, that's really about as far as I can really go with a lot of this stuff. But before we go over the final reports, I'll make sure that all of that is out there in the ether here on this channel for you guys to go over. In the end, these massive reports have to go over to Truckee. And there has to be a final report over there. They have to give us a final report. The case is not over. It's taken 2 years to get this information, and now Truckee has a job to do. So we're going to see what they do with this. I don't really expect any changes. I really don't. I think it's going to end up being something that somebody is going to slip up and confess to later on because it's eating away at them, or it might just be something that somebody takes to the grave. I'm not convinced that Kiely Rodni was breathing whenever she went into that water. They're going to have to do a lot more than this. But I want to know what you guys think so far about the photos and about the ridiculous, crazy stuff that's supposed to be surrounding a case that's being deemed an accident, because I don't see how files expire and stuff gets renamed just for like, you know, funsies. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you were not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.